As a 6-year-old Muslim girl from the tiny countryside of Morocco, my priorities consisted of playing childhood games and soccer, which we call football here. As I got older, soccer became a game for boys only. Girls weren't playing soccer after school. In fact, I was the last girl to play soccer with a boy as my age. I remember one day I was coming running after school when my mom caught me up and said, "You need to stop this. You've grown up now. You are a girl and you're not a boy." So I stopped playing soccer. Here's a picture of me. It's gloomy, but I'm the one wearing the red shirt. This picture reminds me of my invisible years, the years that I call myself invisible. So the photographer came to our school, and I did not have anyone to take picture with. So I went to my sister's class, grabbed her from the crowd, and was like, "Hey, let's take a picture." Well, in my school and in my village, both girls and boys go to school. But somehow, girls aren't expected to do well in high school, to go to university, or to get jobs afterwards. But here's a fact. In Morocco, regardless of your gender, if you do not do well in school, you are invisible. Well, in my primary school, I was invisible. And then, in the 6th grade, my life changed. Someone other than my family believed in me. Mr. Yunus Riyad, my teacher, was the bright light I needed. He created a safe space for me. It was there I could make mistakes, be curious, learn more, and moreover, I felt that my identity was starting to take shape. I was feeling that I was more empowered. So I pushed myself through the middle school and high school, and I was determined to go to university, and I got in. At the beginning of university, I started to question the roles inflicted on me as a girl. And I started also to question the roles and my identity as a female and how it is complicated. And it happens that I thought deeply, very deeply, and I wanted to take off the headscarf. My mom and dad were entirely against it. They said, "If you take it off, you are not going to be considered part of the family anymore." Don't get me wrong, please. Not that girls who wear the headscarf are less than or are pressured. No. I believe that at the very heart of this, girls should have the right to make decisions. They should have the right to take a decision. This part, though, has a happy ending because you can see my curls. So with the support of my family, that was a very happy ending for me. But sincerely, having the courage and confidence to convince my traditional parents that I've got choices to make and to have them tolerate that and still by my side is one of the things that I am proud of the most. In the university and while I was in it, I wanted to make sure that I find me a place where my identity is going to evolve even further. And it happens that my sister, my rock star of a sister, took me just to the right place. She took me to Project SOAR Morocco, where she was learning about the girl power. It was there that I met Mariam Montague, fearless leader of Project SOAR.
It was there that I met Fatima. But I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about cupcakes. So imagine this. You're in the back streets of the Medina, and a woman comes rushing up to you. She has a brown paper bag in her hands, and she says, Thank goodness I found you. I have something for you. And she hands you this brown paper bag. You look inside. $100,000. She says, look, you need to make an investment, and you have two choices. Choice one, you can invest this $100,000 in the Sprinkles Cupcake Company. This is a record-breaking cupcake company. With every sale, you'll get back 1%. Or choice B, you can invest the $100,000 in the local girls' high school. It's in a low-income neighborhood. And when you invest, if that girl makes it through high school and perhaps through college, you'll get 1% of her wages the first year she works. So help me to decide. Raise your hand if you want to invest in the Sprinkles Cupcake Company. I'd like to see you afterwards, please. And raise your hand, please, if you'd like to invest in the high school.
Wow, very impressive.
I am with all of you, despite how much I love cupcakes. This was a choice I made 6 years ago when I founded Project SOAR, the Girls Empowerment Organization.
Now, Mariam, and correct me if I'm wrong, you probably have people who come to you and ask you, why did you have to care and why did you have to invest in these girls? Well, let's talk about some of the challenges that face girls across the developing world. First of them is child marriage. So, according to Girls Not Brides, 12 million girls this year are becoming child brides. That is, every 2 seconds, a girl becomes a child bride. Child marriage is both a cause and effect of dropping out of school. And if this continues, more than 150 million girls will become child brides by 2030. But if we put an end to child marriage, there will be more women in the workplace. And that means that the global benefit would be $566 billion by 2030.
And guess what happens when a girl gets married? She gets pregnant. In fact, 90% of pregnant teens, well, they're child brides. Now guess what the leading cause of death is among these girls? Among all teen girls, it's complications through pregnancy and childbirth. We like to say something at Project SOAR, which is, if you're growing up, you should not be growing out. Bodies are just not ready to have babies. And that's why every single day we see 200 teen girls dying in childbirth and more than 7,000 newborns dying to teen moms. It's made worse by the fact that 23 million girls don't have access to birth control. More births, more deaths. If we put an end to child marriage and girl pregnancy, you know what happens? Those deaths of those teen moms in childbirth reduce by 67%. And the newborns, those deaths reduced by 77%. Imagine that. Listen, girls need to have control over their bodies, and they need to understand their rights.
Now let's talk about education. Poverty plays a significant role of girls dropping out of school. And that is because of so many challenges that facing them, such as transportation costs, school fees, and safety. So many parents do not let their girls go to school because they're afraid that the girls are going to be in danger. That is why 130 million girls are now currently out of school. And that is why also half of sub-Saharan girls from Africa will never set foot in a classroom. Now, if we invest in these teen girls and if we put an end to poverty by educating these girls, 12% of women's wages will increase for each year she stays in a high school. And she will reinvest 90% of her wages back in her family.
Compared to the 38% that men reinvest.
If women get to finish their education, a tremendous effect will happen on her family, community, and the global nation. And they will be happier, safer, and even healthier.
Investing in girls, it's the solution. So let me tell you a little bit about Project SOAR. We are an after-school program, and we take girls through more than 60 hours of empowerment. Girls learn first about their value. They build their self-esteem. They learn that they are just as valuable as a boy. Second, they learn about their voice, their message. They're able to speak up, raise their hand in class, negotiate with their families, and say, hey, marriage is not for me right now. Third, they learn about their changing bodies. Hey, we're talking about teenagers, right? There's nothing to be ashamed about. And also, we provide something very important, which is a kit to manage their periods. Do you know that 1 out of 6 girls drops out of school because she cannot afford, her family can't afford those supplies? Fourth, they learn about their rights, their right to equality, just like their brothers. Their right to avoid early and forced marriage, their right to avoid exploitation, sexual assault, all of those are their rights. And finally, their path. How do they get ahead in life? What is that toolkit that they need? We help them with that. Now, I don't want to brag, but I will and tell you that the New York Times has called our work remarkable. And it's working. You know how I know? The average kid passes the high school entry exam here in Morocco by 42%. But the average Project SOAR girl, she gets into high school at 74%. Empowerment works.
At Project SOAR, we're helping girls from all around Morocco and now Uganda to really embrace and develop their feminist identity. And I am a facilitator there. I am a testament to what happens when you invest in these girls.
Remember, investing in girls is an investment in you. It's an investment in your community. It's an investment in our world. All of us in this room, we can be investors. I love this quote by Malala Yousafzai, that amazing teen leader. When 130 million girls are unable to become engineers or journalists or CEOs because education is out of their reach, our world misses out on trillions of dollars.
Now, let's talk about the girl effect. The girl effect means that if a girl is educated and empowered, a ripple change happens in her family, in her community.
There are 600 million girls in the developing world. Just imagine what it would look like if we invested in each and every one of them, how our world would change.
Well, you probably now are asking yourself, how am I going to be a girl power investor? There are definitely hundreds of ways, but we have 4 ways for you.
Support girls in your world. Help them raise up. Help them advocate for their rights. Get them internships. Welcome them into jobs.
Donate money. It is very effective and helpful to people out there.
No money in your pocket, no problem. Invest your time, whether in person or virtually. We've had over 500 volunteers at Project SOAR, and we still need more.
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram pages at Project SOAR, and there you'll find a great list of other organizations that help girls. Please follow them too.
Get involved in the girl world. So last question for you. You know, it takes about 30 minutes or maybe 45 minutes to bake a cupcake. The frosting, the sprinkles, everything. It takes longer, for sure, to invest in a girl. So I ask you, cupcakes or girls?
And here's a pro tip. You probably do not want to invest in cupcakes.
Take the challenge.
Thank you.
Shukran.